So I am so excited to share with you more about my newest book, Animal Soul Contracts, Sacred Agreements for Shared Evolution. This book came together really quickly from the idea that I had one day about really sharing this additional and deeper aspect of my work over the last 2 decades. I'm a certified interface therapist and I help people and animals heal their emotional wounds. And what I have learned, kind of my lane per se, is helping people and animals heal together because our energy fields get really enmeshed. And when that happens, which it happens with most people that have animals in their heart and in their homes, they are going to be mirroring different emotional wounds. And what I've learned over my 2 decades of work is that we have these different types of soul contracts with our animal companions. So the book is really a spiritual guide to help identify what those soul contracts are that you have with your animal companions and the different ones that are operating. I talk about the 7 different levels of animal soul contracts. And then what I also did in preparation for this book was I did hundreds of case studies in a new modality, a new service that I offer called tandem healings, where I connect energetically to the person and their animals simultaneously for the mutual benefit of their healing and growth. And when I did those case studies, I learned about how we have these different types of soul contracts that are always operating. And I actually took 7 of those stories that I think most people will benefit and relate to the most and put them in the book so that people could read those. I think the tandem healing case study stories are really the heart of the book because people can read those and identify and relate with the stories, at least one of them, I'm sure, so that you can see what types of contracts are operating within your relationship with your animals. But I also have there's so much I love about this book that I'm hoping will help people. I have one chapter called The Sacred Transition of the Animal Soul. And with that, I really wanted to express and share what I see towards an animal's last chapter and even when they transition, what I usually see happening on multiple different dimensions when I am connected to animals during that sacred time. And I wanted to share that so that it can be a more peaceful time for people instead of something that we fear. And there's such a sacred moment, and knowing what's happening in the other dimensions, I think, is going to bring a lot of peace. I have many different stories in that chapter that share how to create a sacred transition for your animal companion. And then I talk about the soul history of animals. I talk about, I answer a lot of the questions that I get all the time from hundreds and maybe more than that people over the last 2 decades of, do our animals come back to us? Why would an animal choose to be abused? Do animals have karma? More about animals' soul histories as I have seen and been taking lots of great notes. And I think that will also bring some peace to people to understand how they come back to us, why they come back to us, and the fact that we have animals as part of our soul groups. We know we've got people in our soul groups, but we have animal souls that will incarnate with us time and time again, that we've partnered with and have soul contracts with. It's really extraordinary. And then, of course, I go into the different levels and give a case study or a story, an example in every single one of the levels so that you can see, again, what animal soul contracts might be operating. And then I also go through a list of how you can line up with these soul contracts so that you can benefit more quickly with your animals to get to that higher purpose of your relationship. You can tell this is all information and that I love talking about, that I love sharing. And I wrote this specifically to really bring a higher level and the knowledge and wisdom within your relationship with your animals so that it can be more peaceful, so that when they have a negative behavior or a physical issue, that you know that there is a reason for it, that there's a message for you in what they are doing and what they are experiencing, because you're experiencing it together.